what you don't know. Hey now, put up a fight, I know how I won't let go. Hands out to the sky, we reach for tomorrow. Break down, look at your life, why you wanna be known. Head down, look in my eyes, tell me what you don't know. Put up a fight, I know how I won't let go. Hands out to the sky, we reach for tomorrow. No, we don't wanna die, we'd rather be alone. Are you the animal, cannibalistic missile, crushing all around?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Reflex Champions. It's been a minute since I've been here, but I've got Ebac alongside me. Ebac,
So,
welcome. Hello.
hi.
I'm saying welcome to you as if I didn't jump in here like the guest. Um,
Mm.
we have got tonight in the final playday here in Reflex Champions a tense fight for potential with a thin little thread up toward the playoffs for our team Twee up against Team Vias, fighting for something of pride and a bit of a to avoid the bitter taste at the end of a season that could have gone an awful lot better. Ebac,
Hello.
what are we looking forward to in this matchup? How are you feeling in general in life, and what's it like being this hot?
That's so many questions to answer. I'm going to do it in reverse order. I'm used to it by now.
Good.
People have been nice to me all day. A lot of people in Reflex today have been very nice to me. I woke up to a message from some of the players, like saying nice things about me, and then I come into the chat, and our observer today, which is Max D, was being very nice to me as well. And then the Machine Soldiers players, who this game was forfeited just before this by Ghostlicks, not themselves, so they get some more points up at the top of the table. They've pretty much crowned themselves at this point. I don't know if it's are they guaranteed top? I can't remember, but they are certainly sitting
They
top on
are,
the
yeah.
final play day. And they were all being nice to me as well. So everyone's being nice to me. And the other question was, what am I excited to see? Very excited to see what Twee can do because they have to win pretty much every game from now on to get into that top four. They are fifth, and their co-competitors in the spots around them, 12 points, 9 points. They're playing each other live right now elsewhere, like in the league because they rescheduled. So that's happening in the background, which will impact this. If Proximity win it, Twee can't do anything. They've not made the top four. If Brainbow win it, it's even. And Twy, if they take this, will all be on 12 points. So it's just going to come down to round differential and what happens in the final game. They have to hope that everyone else loses.
So Twee are really they're crossing their own fingers as to the outcome of the Rainbow versus
Mhm.
the other one you
Proximity.
yeah, proximity. They're crossing their fingers for the results of that one, and they have to win this game against Team Vias, and they have to do it with some margin if they want to
Mhm.
secure themselves in the playoffs. So it's really,
100%.
really a narrow ledge they are shuffling themselves along to try and just clip into the playoffs. Vias, however, they have not got an awful lot to play for except for a bit of pride, bit of practice, just general sportsmanship.
Hmm.
I'm excited to see them because the
Yeah.
last time I was here in Reflex Champions, it was a
Killer.
joyous game of Machine Soldiers esports versus Team Vias. And
Mhm.
like Machine Soldiers love to do, it goes back and it goes forth, it goes to, fro, hither, and thither.
Oh.
And I know it. Vias, I don't think, and I think you mentioned, you worded it this way before we came live. They have an intelligence and a strategic mind to them that I don't think the scoreboard reflects. And I think a lot of the time their gun skill can't quite keep up with. And so while they've shown some really, really interesting play throughout the season, a lot of the time these other teams that come in with their swing and rank stars can just mow them down that little bit too quick for these strategies and plays to come to fruition.
Alas, this game should be a good test for Vias to really prove that they are made of the metal that they might hope so. And maybe next season, if they do stick around in Reflex, I'm expecting a bit of a better performance from them. I think their form has risen up throughout the season, and they've just missed a few of those early results to really compete up at the top. So I'm very much hoping that they can show themselves well today, which is exactly the worst timing in the world for Twy because they need all the rounds they can get.
Yeah, indeed. So we're going to be going to the match here in just a few moments. We're coming in
Coastline.
now to Coastline itself. Now we mentioned Bias's potential strength being their strategy and stuff, but Coastline, a map where the amount of strategy and intelligence you bring needs to be matched by your fragging potential. It
Mhm.
is an absolute bloodbath here on the coast of I think Italy. Is it Italy? Where is Coastline?
Spain. It's
Spain.
Mira and Jackal, isn't it?
Oh yeah, of course. Um, Fire and Tweet are going for the motherland. So hopefully, that's going to be the kind of spirit they can come together, can culminate with to find victory. But we're going to find ourselves in the ban phase. Ace falling off the board first, not going to be appearing in Spain. Uh,
Nope.
Interesting to see him first off the board. Coastline, not a map where hard breach is necessarily one of
Nah.
the major pillars on which it stands. Ying coming out as the second ban. Kind of I'm always bittersweet about the Ying ban. I love to see her played, but I love to see teams that acknowledge how formidable she can be, and teams
Yeah.
that people. I don't know. If you fear a team of bringing Ying, I'm excited to see what else that team can bring.
Yeah, a Ying main in Spain stays mainly on the subs bench for this one, as she's defended. It's terrible, I can't believe. Oh dear me.
Any My
What a
Fair
weird
Lady
set of
fans in the
bands.
audience?
Yeah. Oh, that. To be fair, yeah, that's probably a bit antiquated a reference for our average viewing age. But Valkyrie and Legion, just roll off, Elderbrain, in your immense knowledge about the strangeness and also the usefulness of some of these bands.
Well, I think they're not too strange, and useful is definitely more, I think, the operative term. They're really, really good bands. It's not the kind of, I mean, Mirror is very powerful in strong hands, but they're not the kind of the default bands that we see come out all too often. Things like the Kaid, very, very common bands. You know, things like there's a Valkyrie makes a lot of sense. You often see them on Consulate, but with this much runouts and this much open visibility on something like Coastline, makes an awful lot of sense. She's very, very powerful. Legion as well. I mean, you know, every one of us that has played ranked, when we started this game, we veered towards trap operators like Legion because of the information and the ease of the weapon. He's powerful, he's a killer, and he's always useful. So, again, it makes sense to see him dropped. Now, as far as the lineups, what have we got here, Back? What's standing out to you across this mess of orange and blue?
Ah, well, there's a lot of other colours than that. The lion strikes
two.
out to me, certainly. But you know what? He's pretty much a standard pick here on Coastline. It's so much easier to nab any roamers sneaking around, which I imagine the likes of Absol will probably be taking up on this particular site. But you don't want to stretch too far necessarily on a pink and blue defense, the place we find ourselves first time around. Now, I've seen a lot of games of Coastline recently. It seems to be spiking somewhat in popularity towards the end of the season. Last time I recall this game, I think it was Ghostlix versus UAV. Certainly was a really great match here.
I was worried to see if Rika was going to go for that ranked spawn peak.
I mean, is there a round where someone doesn't do that at any level of play? It's
on
unlikely.
Coastline as well.
This is a bit of a cheeky one, though, isn't it?
It certainly is. We can hear a drone getting thrown out, but a Mozzie on the roam broadcasts to me that he's going to be using those pests to defend his position. So that he
home. No, you could have done a quad rhyme.
Oh, no, you're right.
You missed the opportunity.
The Arena has got some bullet holes looking towards what looks to be the shower drop down. Going to spot the drone out. The position's going to get given up, but there's 3 players already quite close to this location.
Fane's just waiting here for the other players to make the move first. Will it be the fatal move? That is the question. Surely a double peek looks like it's about to come out, but the Twitch is going to bait this shock drone first. Should give that position away, and Zoltan swings, but fails. Thankfully, the refrag is there and finished off by Young. Snakeside taking damage elsewhere. On lobby stairs it is. The Nomad of Stisco. That's going to be... Disco. Should have practiced that before, but he's taking some damage.
I was just about to bring out the nitro cells are going to start coming out here. We've got quite a few on the board. We've got 2 on the board. Both of them now expended, and they haven't net anything. A fraction of damage dealt to the Hibana standing over there in Master Bedroom. But it's Coastline. They're attacking Blue Bar. And
They know?
I actually don't know if they do, because the way they're attacking
like a
right now
Gittin attack to me.
It really does, doesn't it?
I'm pretty sure. I'd be very surprised if they didn't know. But a lot of focus does seem to be on the other side of the map. Finally, now you can see them starting to come over to the west side. They have full top floor control now, Twy. And with this amount of time in their hands, with a good amount of men and utility still remaining, a jab just in case they need it, but the 2 jabs used to secure the flanks as well, they're in a pretty great position. Just isolating that kitchen player is quite an important thing right now, because he's that cross angle that they have to worry about if they're going direct.
With Warbangs coming out from that ledge from luggage, going to mark out exactly what you're talking about, but the shots don't land. He's tucked down there behind that bar. Now, you mentioned it's a good position, but there's 30 seconds left. It's a 4 versus 4, and they still have the smoke on site. A quick rush in and lock out the site could work well for these attackers, but they're going to need to do that quickly because these defenders are poised so well for a retake right now.
It looks like they're poising towards a sauna move, and there is a lot of resistance, so much utility as well. Not just the smoke sitting there strong, but always being pressured from lots of different directions. Those smoke canisters are going to prove crucial to keeping him alive in that position. Only 5 more seconds, but he's dead. He's taken out alongside his teammate, and another one after that. There's only one. Absol, the player we're talking about, being so strong across the other side. You know what? Job done. The smoke kills one. Mozzie's still there. They didn't plant.
So much time there absorbed by that top floor clearance, whether it was, misunderstanding of what site they were on, or whether or not they were just going for a really, really thorough roam clear, which is unlikely, I think. You've got the Nomad, and Coastline as a map where you can break things down into these kind of the channels of movement throughout the map fairly well, especially on that bottom floor. So it really, I don't know, a lot of time, I think, wasted on that. The defenders did a really good job of having that full map presence, backing off, not losing too many lives, and they just pushed them out for time.
I believe it was the Hibana with the diffuser who was downed and killed at the end, right? With the smoke canister.
I believe so, yeah. They managed to kill the smoke, but as they came in, they had to push through that runic gate, through the smoke, and they tried to get to that safe planting position behind that shield, and they were just chipped away on the health. And with the diffuser down, and with like 3-4 seconds left on the clock,
yeah,
I think there were toward the end there were like 2 or 3 attackers all down but not out, just frantically pinging away at things without being able to plant the diffuser.
That happens when you don't play the utility towards the end. Like, the smoke canister will punish you, and a Runegate will punish you. You've got to deal with these things nice and early. Just too little too late from Twy, a little bit lax. And you know what? If they learn from that nice and quickly, the sort of way we see Vias play, very strong to adjust, they'll be in a good position. But right now, first round has gone to Vias. They have the advantage. They're going for the other site. And you know what? If Team Twy do what they did last time, they might be in better stead.
I mean, Twy, they were going very... there's that spawn peak we were talking about. There is a player there. No shots have actually been landed just yet. Looks like Riku's going to be backing off, not all the way, but enough to avoid being immediately shut down. I wanted to draw attention to this because I wanted it last time, but action kicked off fairly well. We're seeing a lot more of Twitch recently.
Yeah.
It's all we've seen kind of not used for a while, those drones seemingly a bit too dense in terms of their utility value. Like, if you destroy a drone, that's half a utility just gone. Useless. And while the operator herself may drop right now in the opening trade, as Zoltan picks up that player, Riku does manage to get the trade back, but with those two off the board, we noticed, and with the observer, I think Max D pointed out, one of those mirror windows has already been opened, the one that stares towards service entry.
Oh, very good awareness from Billy Ray. Here's the call, gets the ping, and gets the second man as well. It's Thane falling at his feet just after Snakeside, leaving only 2 inside of the site, the smoke and the mirror. 2 very reliable players to be sitting inside of it, and 3 players is not too much to deal with. It's not a huge man disadvantage, but the time and the utility as well that Team Twy, especially that Lion that they have in their hands, is a great position for them.
It's not a massive amount of utility that necessarily is going to come into play, especially attacking from what looks to be the jungle side, where we see most of these attackers.
I was going to say that soft wall could be a problem for the mirror here, because the Ash is coming along. She can breach holes in it. She can push them right off, and then that is a rather breachable spot as well, potentially for Hibana. The 2 EE1Ds going into a push where you have the refrag advantage, it seems very strong for Twy.
It does. While this Ash is looking out here to try and free-fire through this, she is exposed, and they're just trading back and forth with bullets through the soft wall and not landing. I don't think any hits just yet. Holding back and passive. We've got Fire. He's going to try and land some shots in the mirror. Lands about 1 bullet, but not enough to get them down. But the attackers have pushed into the site. The open mirror and the smoke has been pushed back. But a beautiful shot through the mirror. He steps up and puts the SMG-11 in the head of Billy Ray, bringing us to a 2 versus 2. 40 seconds on the clock, and these attackers have yet to make a significant entry into the site.
Oh, it's getting tougher and tougher. Vias, 1 minute 45 was on the clock to hold on to in a 2 versus 3. Now it's a 2 versus 2, and there's only 28, but that's a 2 versus 1. The C4 is topped out, giving away the mirror's position, and Fire Axe on it with a lovely double to seal Twy's first round, striking directly back 1-all.
Really looked like they had the potential of bringing it back, but those defenders just locked in that box of service entrance with 2 mirror windows to use and a whole other site that they can't see the entirety of. looked like a bit of a tall order, and it so did turn out to be. So,
Okay, can I throw something? I'm just thinking,
all right, I'm here,
Billy
Captain.
Ray,
Let's go.
with the launcher, does he not open the wall next to the mirror? Like,
Was
so
it
that they can go in and plant, or push her back?
See, I'm wondering
No?
whether or not. So I think, and we saw Billy Ray chip a bit of damage off the mirror when she stepped through that lobby door. I'm wondering whether or not that was a conscious decision to make sure that if this mirror wants to move out and impact the corridor, she has to do so from that doorway. And so the Hibana was safe holding a passive angle, using that man advantage that they had to open an accessible hole in that wall gives the mirror an additional space, an additional position to take to either fire back toward the Billy Ray or to peek out from the corridor, making covering it harder.
I guess.
Maybe that's my hypothetical as to why they might have done that.
Yeah. Oh, well, either way,
just be
Team
that.
Twi did take the round, so good job all round in general, especially Fire stepping up for those final 2 kills. And a lot of work done in the early round. They seem very capable, Team Twi, of taking across, especially on the east side of the map. And they're going to have to do that again, as the kitchen site has been opted for yet again. What do you change if you're Vias?
Well, they've changed away from the mirror. We've had a bit of a shuffle up of operators. Quite a significant change, actually. We've lost. I think the Kaid is no longer present. We've got the we have the Aruni Thane bringing her out, getting those gates on. We saw them do some really good last-minute delay and damage back on that Sunrise attack. And while we are on Kitchen, they are still super effective. The mirror itself was a really important part of how close that last round came. But with the Twitch on the board and apparently not enough attention to make sure those drones don't get near them, I don't know. Moving away from the mirror seems acceptable, but I'm curious to see how well if Twi can make the same kind of headway that they did last round.
Yeah, it seems they're going for a bit more delay in general with those Goyo shields and such, and hoping that their front men can be a bit stronger this time, maybe not die as early, as 3 men were lost within the first half of the round. This time, Vice, they're holding off well. The first minute is gone. No deaths as of yet. Still being just droned out consistently by Twi. You know where they are now. It's time to make your incision, but they're the ones taking the damage. Billy Ray takes some damage as the jump comes in. Young feels?
How does Young feel?
He stretched out his feelers. He's found himself the first kill. I'm sure he probably feels quite happy about
I
it.
don't know what a feelus is, but I don't want it stretched out. Thank you very much.
God, dude.
Just gonna take a minute. Right.
I mean, that's
now,
what Team Twi have done so far. They've taken about 1 minute and 40 seconds, actually, to get into this position, but they haven't cleared that top floor necessarily yet. Via's still persisting up inside of Aqua. Could be a huge issue. Riku sees some feet, but he's distracted, taken out from underneath by Billy Ray, covering his teammate coming in through Office. Now, this is a very good position for Twi. Still players holding above that they haven't cleared. They are so vulnerable here. Thane takes one as well.
it's quite an obvious vertical hole. They can definitely see it. And we've seen Twi actually, they're attacking really quite... They're focused a lot on this jungle side attack. They've been pushing this direction both rounds that they've been attacking the kitchen, and this vertical hold from Snake side, a nice adaptation so long as it remains unflushed. He's going to be a bit of a problem there. He's got that angle on the jump and on the window, and he's going to go for it. One steps in, takes a lot of damage, and he's finally shut down as a double ray. But no, double ray? What did you see, Evac? What are you knowing at?
I was just knowing at the fact that the defender on the top floor is allowed a very, very free kill on the angle they surely know about. Snakeside picks up another. Suddenly it's only Zoltan. He's the last man. He's got an EE1D, which will buy him a tiny bit of time to get into position. Also gives him a ping of one of the players, somewhat recklessly, and that Surya Gate is reactivated. A bit tougher for a jump in, but now Thane, he's covering across towards this plant. There's no way the Lion can get there unless he takes the long fight. Does he? No! He does, but he can't win it! Thane seals the round for Vias. A much changed defense, and a very successful one.
I was really quite worried there because we saw as the plant was going down, Snakeside on the Wamai with that vertical angle decided in that moment to jump down, picked up that downed kill, maybe unnecessarily, but regardless, they picked up that extra kill on the attackers and a really, really nice adaptation for that post plant to get that defused. Reactivate the gate actually was a really, really nice little touch because if they had lost that fight, that gate could have become in really quite handy, especially if damage had been taken by the line before jumping through. Regardless, with a successful defense of Kitchen, we move on to round number 4. Vias in the lead. This is not what Team Tweed need. A reminder from earlier on, Team Tweed need to win this. They need Brainbow to win their match separately, and they need to do so with a really hefty round differential. So beginning this game with a deficit in rounds, being the training.
Not too hefty, because they also have to beat them on round differential. So they want a close game. Between the other two, but Brainbow have to win.
Brainbow needs to be a close game. This game needs to be really good for Team Tweed. They need to be winning this with some rounds to spare, and this is not the way to start off.
No, it's not fantastic, especially with Vias's record this season. Despite, we've been building them up a lot. They are a very strong team, but they have underperformed a lot this season, unfortunately, for them. And this is not, if you're a Tweed fan, this is not the time when you want Vias to step up, but that's currently what they're doing, because they're looking pretty strong. And now they're over on Hookah and Billiards as a defense. They've not done a second floor so far this game, and you know what? These are probably statistically one of the strongest sites, so, it doesn't
I do love
really
that we've
bode
seen...
too well.
I love that we've seen... Sunrise be the primary site for a start. I'm also loving from Vias. We've got Aruni, Frost, and Ella. 3 operators that you do not necessarily all see all that commonly, but we've got them here today. We've got 3 different forms of you're not coming through here. If you jump and you don't check your feet, you're going to get snapped up. If you go through a doorway too late, you're going to get zapped, and Ella is there to make sure that essentially, unless you bring in an IQ, you're going to get concussed, and they're so annoying. To slow down your ADS speed is such a pain. But the Ella themselves are going to get droned out, and they're going to back off and allow Tweed to make the entry into the building over here by Penthouse. It starts off with Riku getting a headshot.
Oh, it's an entry, but not a great one. He just walked straight into the... No way. Does he not know that Riku's there? 2 players right next to each other, just hugging this door frame. Snakeside is taken out. Surely the swing will come from Riku. Why is he playing this so passive? He's clearly worried about the long angle, but he takes the first, and he's ready for the second. It's actually the open angle from Billy Ray he was concerned about, clearly. But, that's why you got to be concerned about it, because he was easily swingable as well. Takes one with him, so the advantage still in the hands of Twy, but it's not as strong as it could have been. Again, we find ourselves in a 3 versus 2 for the attack, taken most of the ground, only a few players left in sight as well. Remember, Vias won this out last time we saw this position.
No, they didn't. I think this was the round that they lost on Kitchen. It came down to the 3 versus 2 on the attack.
Oh yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they lost that. Sorry.
It was close. Hops did a good job. Hops was one of those in the die moments of that round. We'll see if they can bring out a similar move, but they haven't got that hard point that they did down in Kitchen. And now the attackers have plenty of time and utility to find out where these defenders are and start making... Oh, look at that crossfire. Awesome. Beautiful combination there from VIP and from Aqua to shut down the Aruni. And it's all down to Hops on the smoke. Got the SMG-11 and one canister, which will expend now to delay this push down this corridor. And he's going to be setting himself up. This is such a long-range fight to be taking with this SMG. But it works for him. Look at that. Disco. I was like, oh, it's such a
Stan Fran. Call him Stan Fran.
I'm gonna call him Sam. You're right. You take it from here. This is your job. This is your bit.
I've only signed for Sam Clan, but right now it's Twy. Why would you leave? Fire's absolutely a maniac, getting the final kill onto a smoke yet again. This time upstairs. A great position for them. They bring the score back even. Yes.
Yeah, they bring it back even to
I'm just not here today. I was so thrown off by that forfeit earlier.
I mean, understandable. I'm so annoyed. Such an intense moment of action with the Hops then stepping up for that long-range kill. I was like, oh, okay, I'm in this. I might as well take this little bit of play-by-play. And then an amazing shot goes on to the one player whose name I need to, stop and think about. Because the rest of them, Billy Ray, Young, Zoltan, Fire.
No, I'm just going to say, I'm also thrown off because you're so good. And I haven't cast with you in freaking ages, and it shocked me, and I'm just sitting there like, whoa, oh my word, what am I dealing with? What is this? Quality? Oh, dear me.
Elder Brain has returned momentarily.
Well, clearly, yeah. Well, I imagine nobody at home will be arguing quality so far, but at least the players are offering that in spades right now. And we returned for a very high quality site with a very bizarre ending last time we saw it. A pretty good round in general from the attackers of Twi, but they just didn't clear enough of those main spots, and the real thing that punished them was that smoke, and consistently they seem to be struggling with Hops today.
Hops is having a really, really good moment. He's going native on the kills, but we see him time and time again in that last man position doing some... He's twisting and turning in the wind, but he's making some nice shapes while he's doing so. Yeah. We saw this round come down to those dying moments and frantic entries, which Riku on the Capcan is going to make really, really good use of, should they get to those moments of frantically running through doorways without that time to check their ankles. What I'm interested to see is whether or not Twee most likely they've checked the site a little bit more thoroughly. They know they're going to be going for a Sunrise and Blue Bar. Is this attack going to look much different, or are we going to see that same full map clear that we were kind of questioning?
That drone see? Oh! I wasn't sure if the drone saw the Melusi, but Billy Ray seals that first kill.
Absol's struggling today. He's been playing those kind of aggressive, sneaky positions to try and get... Oh, Stisco is going to... I was going to say something, so he's not starting off. The defense are falling apart, it seems.
He's padding his statisticos with a lovely kill. Dear me.
No,
I'm a formal apology to Stisco. It's really not that hard a name.
It's not. It's just a bunch of consonants all in a little clump that my little English brain eyes aren't used to seeing. An early extension from these defenders, which netted them quite a lot of success on that kitchen defense previously. But, I mean, they've fallen so quickly. Absol's been trying to get those early little engagements to try and get something. Droned out, dealt with so quickly. Great work from Billy Ray and the teammate droning for him. You hate to see Vias being forced into these positions with this much time on their hands. This is looking really, really good for Twee.
Oh, well, one Twitch jammer? What am I on about? I'm in a nightmare. I'm an absolute nightmare. And Vias are not in a dream situation either right now. A 3 versus 5 they're faced up against, and a lot of time for Twi. I've got to say, probably the best thing in their favor this game so far has been their efficiency in these rounds. It's the one thing they fixed immediately from that very slow first round. And they're in the middle of the site. They're just sitting around, but there's nobody there. They're all holding externally. Could be shot in the back. It's just Hops tucked in the corner of death, and it is for Young, certainly. He finds his death in that corner, but the plant is found over in blue.
The Aruni was playing above with some punch holes, but falls off it. The plant is allowed to go down, but they've managed to pick up Young with that beautiful shot from Hops, and so they bring us into a 4 versus 3 post plant. Not the situation you want, and it's made worse by Sistico as he shuts down Hops. The clutch man, Billy Ray, continues the bleeding, and Riku is left all by himself. And it's not gonna be... There's not an opening. There's no window to make anything happen. Sistico picks up yet another triple, I believe, on the round as he shuts down the Capcan. And that brings Twee where they need to be in the lead for the first time this game.
Oh, it's very important. I mean, they're on the attacking side of Coastline. Surely you want 4 rounds to win the game at the very least. It's going to be a very tough ask on their defensive half. They really need to make sure that that can happen, even just for the round differential, not necessarily just for the win. But at the moment, a win looks pretty tough. It's not a walk in the park by any means, and I think they're just going to have to take whatever result they can get.
They're slightly, I'm seeing from Twee, they're slightly slow on adaptation, but Vias are affording them that by playing quite carefully. Especially in those mid rounds. We've seen both when we had the last time on Kitchen, at the time the Wamai had that vertical angle which could have denied the plant straight off the bat, but he fell back. The plant went down. They won the round, but it was left down to that 2 versus 2 gunfight in a post plant. And in that situation, Aruni was in a position, again, to deny the plant directly. And while Twee eventually did adapt and send up a player to try and push Aruni away from that position, she was already long gone and the plant was put down. I think it's these little moments of timing of how careful they can afford to be. They're not taking advantage of every moment Twee is affording them, and they need to be if they want to be in this.
Loading new mag. Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Well, thankfully, both teams are very much still in it at this point in the game. Nothing is lost. We are quite far away from a match point. I don't think... It doesn't look like we're going to see, at the moment, a team get too many consecutive rounds. It's been so back and forth. But we have fought their way back from a 2-1 down to a 2-3. So pretty good position in general. They're going to clear top down. We've seen them do this attack before. It's been rather effective. Just got to make sure they don't lose too many men early on. That has been the issue for Vias, and yet again, that is a pertinent issue. They just keep losing these men, and that's all the top floor presence gone.
It is. The top floor presence was a really big part of their success previously, and with it eradicated this early, that's going to be a problem. But Absol has come up to replace. We'll see if this Mozzie can, especially given how much droning we're seeing from Twee, this Mozzie might be what they need to try and lurk behind and away from their lines of sight and awareness and get these big impact kills. But eyes are upon him. Zoltan Overwatch both in the E1D and in himself as he circles across. The shot comes out and there it is, Zoltan. He doesn't need the drone to do it. He's there himself with that weapon and he's going to put the bullets into Absol and more vertical kills. Billy Ray.
That was a vertical kill through an open mirror. Dear me. That is a very advanced vertical kill, and it's just Riku and Thane remaining. This time, Hops is not in a position to try and delay with those canisters. We've usually seen him be such a menace, but here is down to Thane, and Riku is on the outside of the site as well to maybe pinch. It's not a position you want to find yourself in necessarily because there's so much pressure on the mirror, and when she falls, now it's all down to Riku, stuck all the way over in security. The site now in full control of those attackers.
Oh, and with Mirror's insight remaining to make sure he cannot use lobby. Oh, this is a nightmare for the other.
It's not a great situation. Things currently poised for Twy, as we were talking about, to try and take this fourth round. The 4-2 that they really, really want at the split. Certainly recoverable for Vias, but is this round as well as the Ella takes down one? The plant is going down across in-service entrance from Zoltan, and Riku's position definitely known now if it weren't before with the going off of that air jab. A second one is found by Riku. A great position now, 33 seconds. Definitely not ideal with two players outside. Strong positions all around. He doesn't know where they are. He's got to go for this diffuser, but he's gone upstairs and is roaming around. He's got very, very little time to deny. Perhaps that just lack of intel might just cost them here. And the strength of intel now, given that EE1D, will certainly help Twy.
This is a 180 crossfire with 10 seconds. There's not an awful lot he can do with this. No, he doesn't have the intel. He doesn't know where these attackers are. If they could be above, around. They are both outside, but they don't need to step foot in the door. Team 3 take this round, and they find that 4-2 advantage that you mentioned that they're going to be definitely after, trying to seek a win with some leeway. It's not as much as they would have liked, but it's something. At least we're not here on a 3-3. As we switch over to the defense, given what we've seen so far, Monsieur Ibak,
yeah,
what are you expecting to see out of Twy's defense?
I expect them to Twy very hard. I'm so sorry.
This is why I can never cast with anyone else. You're aware of this, right? Like, I can't go from this to some...
I don't know. I mean, that's what... Genuinely, though, that is pretty much the message. They got to put all the effort in that they can here on the defense, because it can be really tough if your strategies just don't quite weigh up. Coastline has the way of being a very... often people say just it's a ranked map, more so than a comp map in a lot of ways, and that does favor Twee with that slight mechanical advantage that we've seen be ever present at moments in this game, especially. But can they stand up on the defense? This is going to be a proper test of their strategy and how well coordinated they are as a unit.
It's slightly saddening to see from Bias, because it looks in the game with Machine Soldiers a few playdays previous, it looked like they were fairly well put together. They strung a good number of rounds together. They looked really nice.
6 rounds together.
Yeah, right now. It's quite disjointed. The most confident, really, that we've seen them is when they are back into a corner, because there's nothing else they can really do but fend it off, and they've done decently in a couple of those moments. aside from that, most of the team keeping, roughly even. Absol has not.
Are they rushing Hookah? No, they're not. Okay. Well, Absol's at least trying to make a quick entry, and he's been shut down immediately. Again, Vias and entries is really just not a happy story for them, and Twy will just lap that up happily. Two straight back. That's gonna, I don't know, spoil their food. I'm not good with food. I can't really do it now.
Billy
But 2
Ray.
kills for Twy in response.
Billy Ray is going really. He's definitely standing a bit head and shoulders above the rest. I would want to draw attention. Most of these kills, especially on the attack,
A bit of head and shoulders, like just a neck above
just
the rest.
like the top half of a bust.
Okay.
Was on the attack there on the Ash was led by a drone. So it's not just the fact that he can obviously shoot very, very well, even with this updated 416. He's doing so with the intel from the team, moving together with that information, and is doing a lot of work with it. So it's a really good combination of team effort and technical skill that's really helping him stand up and pull tweets. Yeah, it's really melting him. He's oozing down into the cracks, and there's nowhere left for Vias to run. Oh no.
It's a poor situation for Riku again to find himself in a 1 versus X. He managed to get 2 in the 1 versus 4, but in the 1 versus 3, Young just wasn't there a Young for Evil Geniuses? Am I thinking that right?
Yeah, there is. Yeah. It's the same guy.
Ah.
Had a bit of a slump.
His career's come a long way since then. Dear me.
This is looking really. I mean, that Vias look like they've almost given up.
That was very. The last 2 rounds have been so different to the first.
Yeah, like the change in personality from we're gonna do Sunrise first, we're gonna bring out some kooky stuff, maybe mislead them a little bit. We're gonna take advantage of their lack of droning, lock them out, win it. Versus that team that just stood outside Hookah and tried to walk in the door.
Yeah, they were the fun kooky ant, trying out a Sunrise, doing a little thing like.
And now they're the fun kooky ant that's drunk on white wine and being mean to you.
You stole my analogy from me. She's just sitting there surrounded by cats, no friends, dearie me. But yeah, that's pretty much Vias incarnate right now. Not in a great position, but it's rescuable, One of these guys, Absol, potentially stepping up in the kills or something to that degree, might be the young, handsome man who comes to rescue her and turn this into a proper movie.
I mean, I'd hope that these days we built to tell a story more interesting than a man comes to save the day, but I don't know that even that would be enough. They could be playing 6-5 right now. Absol has been basically not present.
It needs time travel, doesn't it, the movie?
A bit of time travel and probably a lesbian romance. And then maybe we'd have a chance.
Okay.
Because I think right now that's what Absol needs.
I mean, I guess the story of this match could have like some sort of homosexual element to it.
I mean, if it doesn't, why are we here?
Hey.
Anyway,
the game
on the these attackers Vias, they're being so slow right now. They have barely. I don't think they've made an entry into the map yet. They've got about a minute gone, about 45 seconds to a minute gone on the clock. They're considering making an entry here into Guitar, but haven't made the difference yet. Yeah. I don't know if they're waiting for a drone to come out, but the difference between Twee, who are just so quick, pop it open, drone in, Billy Ray gets a kill. This is 2 people standing outside a door for 45 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, there are many differences, obviously, between these 2 teams right now, but that one in particular is standing out to me as a proper, complete different pace, like different style that we're seeing.
Yeah, we usually see a 3 versus 2 type situation by 1 minute 40 in a lot of these rounds, but here we are, 5 versus 5. Thankfully, Vias, they are not disadvantaged yet in terms of man count. They've struggled with those entries, certainly, but if they can get on top of them, build some momentum, they're only 3 rounds behind, but consider they are only 2 rounds away from Team Twy taking it all. And in this position, Twy, they need all the rounds they can get. Do you expect them to stop now?
To be honest, I don't think Twi are slowing down. We're going to need to see a gear change out of Vias, and Fire getting rid of Thane is not the direction that stick needs to be moving, as the dial continues to twist ever so slightly in Twee's favour yet again. The sledge gone, the soft destruction nades off of the board, and one of the closer to even fraggers. Absol got a kill!
Hey, good stuff. One as well for Hops, which gives the advantage for the first time in quite a while in terms of men, and especially in terms of this type of advantage. No, it's gone! I didn't even get to say it! It's back even again! 30 seconds now left for 2 attackers to find one roaming defender and one inside the site. Leave him there, get on in there, challenge the first man. Ignore that castle, he's gonna go open some vertical angles potentially. You expect that it was going to do. Maybe you might go for a run out or something of the sort, but there's 15 seconds left. Got a challenge towards this smoke, but no! He takes one with the canister and one with the SMG-11. Vias handed their best chance we've seen them for victory in quite some time. But yet again, the man with the diffuser is killed by the smoke.
Yeah, Twee are beginning to run away with this just a little bit. We find themselves on a match point, and this is exactly what we needed to see out of them. We talked about a slight slowness of adaptation on their attack, and they still found themselves 4-2 up, but now on their defense, it is down to Vias to do the adapting. It is up to Twee to set the pace, and they are doing so excellently. Vias are not challenging it with any gumption. I'm not seeing any spunk in their play, thank God. But hopefully... Well, I mean, this is what Twee needed, right? Twee need to win with a good round differential. And if they can tie this together into another one final victory as they defend Blue Bar and Sunrise, this could be the thin path they need to tread to find themselves at the Reflex Championship playoffs. I'm excited.
I'm somewhat bereft of words.
Worrying, given your job title.
Dear me. I'm rather disappointed with Vias's efforts so far. They've not been able to handle Billy Ray at all. This man is an absolute maniac, just having so much fun. And Twi, they're not really... they've not been the most aggressive team by any means.
Sure.
I think Vias just don't seem that connected. They're not getting the refrags. They've had the players in the positions for it, but when they lose one man, they lose two. And that's the issue.
It falls apart very quickly. I think their play style itself, trying to talk excitedly about this, it's like trying to escalate a narration of deflation as they just decompress and fall
across the
apart
nation?
bit by bit, all the way across the nation. They're just... There's not much force behind their motions. They're falling easy. Like, Billy Ray finally gets shut down off the bat. His entry still looking pretty good statistically, but Riku manages to shut him down and make an entry of themselves in towards office.
Yep, they've started things off well again, Vias, but similarly, they've lost it again. Nice and quickly. That man advantage has been taken away from them by the UMP of San Fran.
I think they're going for a bit of a... They're going for a top-down take from the attack, and it's a good place to start. I think that move down what looked like Cool Vibes stairs was maybe a bit premature, and now they're just flailing a little bit. They had a bit of an idea. They're taking vertical control, but every time they try to move away from to use it, it's fallen apart.
So you can see with all these moves across the field as Snakeside dies, Riku's death just kind of, maybe there's someone over in this area there usually are people in. I'll just walk towards it with no intel and see if I can win the fight. And that's the sort of thing that keeps happening. Snakeside taken out. You saw from the wall being opened by the Buck, but he does find 2 kills. He is taken out in response by fire, but it's still leaving Absol all by himself, and it's all the hopes of Vias now on this man.
And they're not where you want them to be frank. He's had a really, really rough game, and Twee right now, they need to stamp on this coffin and drive all the nails home at once. The shot's going to ring out. They miss. Fire is going to step close with the shotgun. Hibana, she has the bearing, which excels at close range, but Absolute is going to prioritize the sight. Going to move closer, and they avoid this engagement for just a few seconds longer.
But here she swings on towards Bluebell. There is someone on the opposite side of the counter, but there's someone more directly who is a problem. I was going to say, yes, it is actually Fire inside of Courtyard, who has the low angles across. He can cover everything from there. A very important win for Twi. It's exactly what they needed.
And we'll have to wait until we see the calculations, the results from the Brainbow versus Proximity game to see whether or not Twee have threaded that needle.
Guys.
Whether or not, I mean, I don't know if we can get that answer right now or not,
Yeah.
but that's going to determine whether or not Twee can make it to our playoffs. So congratulations to you guys for doing really quite a good effort. Slightly disappointing show from Vice. We know they can do better, and hopefully in seasons to come, in leagues to come, they can demonstrate that. Because there were some moments among their play across the season where I really had high hopes, and then they dashed them against the rocks. But for now, that is all for this matchup, and therefore all from us. I have been Elder Brain. Ebac
Hello.
has been Ebac.
Goodbye.
And for now, have a good evening, and we'll see you guys soon.